Oh, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to Stand Up Podcast. I'm your boy, Danny Royce, and we in here, Chicago meets New York, joined by my co-host. You already know who it is.
What's goody? Michael Houston in the building. Brooklyn, New York. What's up?
Let's go. And we are joined by a great friend of mine. She's an actor, screenwriter, and filmmaker. Everyone, please welcome Alexandra Grey. What's good? How you doing, girl?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. Okay, for the audience.
Come on with the audience.
We got technology.
We love our audiences.
I feel like I'm walking in one of those sitcoms back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Doing a celebrity appearance, they start clapping.
No, that romantic part. What's going on? How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be alive and out of a strike. Well, almost.
Almost.
Oh, you voting? Are you voting yes?
Ask too many damn questions.
Did I send you that video?
No.
Did I send you that video?
Send me a video.
No, I sent you the video. Did you watch the video?
Not yet.
Okay, you need to watch that before
video?
Watch it before you cast your vote. Yes.
What's the video? In bullet points.
I mean, I can say it because he shared it with the world. Sean Sharma, he's on the national committee, SAG board, and he was on the negotiating committee, and so he highlights a lot of things in it. AI, anywhere from streaming, all that stuff. And basically, he encourages people to vote no, but he said, obviously, you're going to do your own thing. But at the end of the day, this is it's a lot of loopholes in the thing. It's a lot of loopholes. So he's like, I guess the whole SAG are looking at it like, hey, we do it now. We fight 3 years later when we renegotiate. But he's like, we may have bigger obstacles in 3 years.
Right.
We might have bigger mountains to climb. So, yeah, that's my whole take on it. After that, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm voting no.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know. I know people have to get back to work. Obviously,
Right.
I want to get back to work.
Of course.
But then again, I mean, it's like with the AI stuff. I mean, look at the streamers.
Man.
Did anyone know Netflix and Hulu and all these apps were going to be what they are? So it's like we all want a part of that,
Right. Right.
from the start. So I don't know. I know Tyler Perry said something about like, fighting the war later, but I don't know if it makes a difference to do it now. I don't know. So.
Man, it's just crazy because at the end of the day, like as performers and artists, like that's all we got is our likeness. That's what we get paid off of. Our image, our voice. And if you're trying to replicate that and sell it and use it, which now they're very smart where they say like, it's a requirement for employment. As actors, we obviously, we have a lot of requirements for employment, whether it's like height or the way you look, whatever it may be, right? So if they twist it as a requirement for employment, if you don't make that requirement, they're going to find someone else. So it's a forced, what do they call it?
Major? That's the only time I heard that word. Listen, let me just say this, 'cause I'm not trying to influence nobody, and I don't really know much about this. I'm still educating myself on the AI stuff. But to me, I thought I read somewhere that they could, like, if you don't finish a scene, they could then use AI to finish the scene, and you don't have to get paid for the rest of the day or the shoot or whatever.
So that's what they knocked down. That's what SAG knocked down.
Okay.
So basically they're saying like now, say you, for instance, you went to go film, right? And you didn't finish a scene. Now you have to fly back to, I don't know, New York, whatever. They can use that replica of you to finish that scene, whether it be your voice or image. They have to pay you for that though. But the thing is, what's stopping them from using it in other things, what's stopping them from using your lips or your eyes or just changing your whole image in general.
Yeah, that was a part of it too.
That's something that's not protected in the current agreement. So like I said, it's just a lot of loopholes. Their lawyers are very good, and then they will write agreements where they can kind of take advantage of the system.
It's really interesting in talking about like agreements and contracts. I'm sort of in shopping deals right now for some projects that I'm working on, and that's sort of, I'm in that space of you sign something now and then you don't know what's going to happen later. But then if you don't do it now, then you could potentially miss out on the whole thing. And it's like, so I'm in a really tough situation because I have to think about, what is the risk worth it? Is it worth it? Maybe potentially me not getting to have this title or something on my own project. Like, so I don't know. I think it's really important, and I think people got to really take their time and think about it before
they really do. They really do. You gotta really think about it. Also, greatest time now than ever. Support independent filmmakers, and you are one.
Ooh, yes.
So let's talk about your what you can say about some things you're working on at the moment.
Yeah, well, I'm working on my first feature film. Yeah, I think I'm like trying to keep it a little low key, but I will say that it's a Black trans love story. It's really my story, dating this Black guy in college. And that's what the film is about. It's a romantic drama music film set in the Deep South.
Oh, music?
Yes.
Let's go.
And the script I was a semifinalist at Slam Dance this year.
Oh, congrats.
Hey, let's go.
Yeah. So
might come in with the audience. Let's go.
So that's really exciting. I've been making some good strides with it. I feel like the financing is going to be there by the end of the year, and then we want to start principal photography probably. I mean, as soon as we can, in terms of getting cast. I want to get some name actors in there too. So, sometime before the spring of 24. So
Okay.
What's the biggest lesson that you've learned from this process so far?
I'm still learning a lot, I will say, but I think the lesson that I've learned is there is no roadmap. I've had a lot of people try to tell me how to go about this, how to ask people for this and that, and what I know is that just being myself and showing my heart is the thing that shines through, and I've gotten a lot of support already by just showing up and being myself and not doing a pre-packaged sort of thing. So I would just say be fearless. And ask for what you need. Don't be afraid to ask for what you need. That part.
Closed mouths don't get fed. That was one of my biggest things I had to learn with my projects. Because there are some people that just know things and just have resources, and they have stuff that can make your life so much easier. Yeah. You just open your fucking mouth. So what is one of the biggest challenges you've met thus far in this process? Particularly.
Well, I mean, I think assembling a team, I found a great team of 2 female producers that are fantastic, but it's really hard to get people to come on board, things that are just sort of ideas at first. And so to get someone to come on and believe in you and strategize with you was the most challenging part. But then when you find it, I don't think it ever changes, like the responsibility. Currently, I feel like I am just doing everything.
Right.
I'm the writer, I'm the producer, I'm the director, I'm the doing everything. But getting a solid team together was the most challenging part. And then, of course, you got to get the money. You know how people tell you all the time,
always
do your own stuff. Don't wait for Hollywood. Do your stuff. And it's like, well, damn, like, you gonna give me the money? So you need money, and getting the money is not easy. And people will say, do a GoFundMe or do this. There's a lot of restrictions with that. There's a lot of timelines. There's a lot of taxes. And there's a lot of needing to whore yourself out on social media. I'm just not in the space to do that currently. So
whore yourself out or be on social media? I mean, because Alexandra, come on now.
Watch your mouth now. The past is in the past.
Leave it in the past. I done left that poll alone. Okay.
I left it alone.
No, it's interesting. So you said, and obviously not giving too much, we want people to see your film, but going to college in the Deep South. How, if you can talk about just a little bit, how was that experience, especially in the Deep South?
He didn't know the story. I
Yeah.
didn't go to college in the Deep South.
Oh, okay.
No, not quite.
The story is I went to college in Northridge. I went to Cal State Northridge University. But as I was writing the story, I started off writing the $2 million film, which took place here. And I think as an indie filmmaker, you have to then take that multi-million-dollar script and find out how you're going to do it independently.
Yeah.
And so to me, that gave birth to this new sort of streamlined, intimate story of these 2 people who fall in love in and where in the South. And now the interesting point that I'll point out is that a lot of the film is a collection of romances that I had. And I did have a romance in Southern Louisiana when I was doing my first feature film. I had a romance for a month and a half. And so a lot of the story also comes from that relationship. So,
Why not a fling? Why romance? What's the difference?
I will say that a fling is something that I
I mean, they're different.
I've asked you. I'm kidding. To me, a fling is like, I think you can consider them all flings after they're over with, because, you know, those romances were over with and I never spoke to those guys again because of whatever reason, probably because I was trans. And, but I say romance because to me, I've never really, I at that point, I never really had a boyfriend or a lover or something. And those were the closest things to a relationship that I had, you know, in terms of seeing somebody consistently for a month and a half while we're both working on this project together.
Right.
You know.
And so that's what I would say would be the difference between a fling and a romance. Because, like, I don't see you talking to your fling or texting your fling every morning. You know what I mean? Whereas a romance, you could potentially be doing that.
That's right.
Or every night. You know what I mean? That's kind of like the separation between, or what I think.
We're screwing every night.
I mean, you know,
After
you can do that. You can do that with a fling, but, you know.
I'm kidding. No, I'm not.
No, you're not. No, you ain't. I already know.
I mean, after set, he would walk me home.
He'll walk you home.
But no, it was.
Walk you home and get it done.
Yeah.
So, dating, you mentioned it's hard because, you know, you said straight guys want you, but they don't want you in public. And the gay guys don't want you. But what about the bisexual guys? Why are you leaving them out?
Find them, name them. Where are they?
Do you think anybody want to be in a relationship nowadays?
Right.
You know what? I will say this: dating is very hard, especially in LA. But to me, I'm not even talking about a relationship. Like, to me, I'm like, let's get past 3 dates. You know, because the problem is. See, Danny knows me and a little bit of my dating history with friends. But what I'll say is that what happens is I'll like start dating a guy, and then this is from what I hear from them is that then they get scared. It's like they get excited about me. They could see me in a relationship, but then it's like, well, I don't know how I would explain you to my mother and my father or this. So what they do is they write me off right away. Before allowing us to see what we could become. So dating like that is extremely hard. But what I found is that men are more willing to court me these days in order to get me into bed. And if I don't move quick enough, then they'll ghost me. Well, I've been ghosted so much this year. Like, it's crazy.
You don't move quick enough. You ain't giving it up quick enough now.
I know.
I was just listening to Iyanla Van Zant on another podcast in which she mentioned that 90 to 120 days is the time period that you should then, you know, get into bed, which is significant. Do you? Because then you see their true character over the, 3 months.
Yeah, no, I never even have that opportunity to get that far. I mean, it's literally. I'll tell you an experience. I've been talking to a guy for like a month. We decided to finally go on a date. We go on a date. It's an amazing date. Amazing date. And then...
Amazing date, y'all.
It's an amazing date, right? I mean, all I can say is that, we kissed at the end of the night. I mean, he was trying to come upstairs. Like, so clearly he was having a great time. And then he goes to me.
Like he just stopped talking to you?
It was actually... I had found out that I didn't win the slam dance competition. I was a semifinalist, but I didn't win. And so I thought, we had an amazing date. So I was like, oh, I'm really sad about it. I should text him. So I texted him the next morning to say, hey, I didn't get it. And he never responded. And I was like, damn.
Still to this day.
So what do you find?
Well,
exactly.
basically, and I'm like not a desperate person, but I was like, "Did you get my text?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I was busy." I was like, "Okay, no
okay."
And then he just ghosted me or whatever. But then he came back around like 2 months later, and it's like at that moment, this is where my self-esteem has to kick in, my self-worth, and I have to say, I don't care how fine he was, because he was fine, and I was acting a damn fool over him. I mean, that really hurt my feelings, because I was like, damn, I really thought I was gonna have me a fine ass boyfriend, you know. But it didn't happen, and so that's pretty much how it goes. So I never really get to, and make no mistake, this isn't about a shortage of men who want to get into bed with me. There are lots of men who love trans women, right? That's not an issue. But anything more outside of that, no.
Do you find it? What's the difference you find between culturally, black versus like black men and white men, Latino and in turn, not in the bed, but how they let's get out the bed first, Alexandra. No, how they navigate.
I don't think there's a difference, and I've done a little research over the course of the past few years. If I decide to like hook up with somebody, a guy or something, I usually ask the question of like, "Hey, would you ever date a trans woman?" You know, and I don't know why I asked the question, because I end up setting myself up for failure because I already know the answer. But I want them to say it. I want to hear them say it. I want to hear them say that their family and their friends' happiness is more important than their own. And so I don't think that there's a huge difference. I think with black men, I think cis black men, they absolutely, you know, are not going. Like, you're just not about to see Michael B. Jordan out here with me on his arm.
Right.
I mean, hopefully we get to that. That's why I wrote the movie, because I'm telling the story of what should happen once the romance or the fling ends, right? What it could look like after that. But I don't know. I have found that men of other races are more open to like something more substantial.
And we're talking about the, you know, Michael B. Jordans that like trans and behind closed doors that don't, you know what I mean?
Damn,
they were talking about those type of people.
You best watch your mouth now.
We're talking about the acting. No, let's be serious. We're talking about celebrities who do things behind closed doors. I'm real. This stand up. I don't give a fuck. Behind celebrities that do shit behind closed doors.
I don't have 10K followers yet, so
I'm not saying
once you get past that point, I guess you can.
I'm not saying MBJ doesn't. I'm talking about like people who are in this status that they don't speak up for or support, but they doing all this stuff behind closed doors. Those are people I'm talking about.
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, I think it's why I think a lot of trans women do turn to sex work. You know, I kind of look at it in an interesting way that, you know, these men are too afraid to love us in public, but they worship us in private. And so to me, I support the girls that do that, because I think it's a good remedy for like the fact that bitches can't get access to health care, and there are bills being passed every other week preventing trans people from doing things. So you know what? Because you desire to pay the girls, you know. So yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot.
Right.
There's a lot of guys. I mean, I get a lot of guys that hit me up that just, you know, privately, you know.
I mean, I would think that especially black men would kind of understand, because I mean, it's kind of messed up, but trans women are the new black men. You know, there was once upon a time where it was, you know, you could love black men, you have sex with them, you can have a great time, but don't take them home, or don't and you know, introduce them to your friends.
White people,
I mean, white and Latinos, like it's all, and Asian. Oh my God, don't get started with the Chinese culture. It was fetishize and love us outside, but can't bring us home, can't talk about it, you know, that type of thing. So it's just interesting how it's like you can't understand what's going on. But
I think that's why it's important, though, to like, representation is important.
Exactly.
I think it's important for people to see, like, in all the movies, the features that I do, I've always fought to have romances and to have love scenes, because I think black trans women need to be shown desirable because we are desired. And I think it's important for people to see us being loved by men, right? So I think that's why that it's really important to have representation. And I think all of that is like just it's going to be in my movie, which is why it's transcendent, because it hasn't been done yet.
Okay, that's what we do.
That's the new name of the movie.
Transcendent.
So you said that you want to see more love scenes and romance scenes regarding trans. Doesn't there seem to be more? Doesn't it almost seems to be fetishized with any, whether it be gay scene, predominantly more gay scenes, like in a lot of shows where it's like you then questions like, are you just fetishizing this, or like you actually showing a love story other than just these focusing on these sex scenes?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think that's why it's important to have like real nuanced characters and stories, and it's lacking. I mean, it's why I've for the majority of my career so far have only played sex workers and drug addicts, murderers, junkies. You know, like I've never on TV played someone's love interest yet, but I've been on like 20-something shows. You know, and I've never kissed a guy on a show. And so to me, I think that it is important, and for some reason it seems like Hollywood is trying to not tell that narrative. For whatever reason, I don't know. You know, I'll tell the people that follow me, you know, look at my career. You know, why is it that I'm good enough to play the cancer patient with prostate cancer on 2 medical shows and constantly be in a courtroom getting arrested for something, but I'm never good enough to be the nurse or the doctor on the medical show or the love interest on, I don't know, all these shows that are out here. So I think it can work. You can do love scenes and things like that, but you have to honor the characters and the stories. And I think it's hella lacking. So I challenge all the writers and producers and showrunners to like tell more trans stories. And I mean Black trans femme stories like mine.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel like, you know, with strides, we'll definitely get there. And in Hollywood, there's always a narrative of who can play what and who has what roles. You know, once upon a time, it was only the Asians got the smart people roles, and you know, the blacks got the thugs and the crackheads, and occasionally you throw them a lawyer bone, but you know, and we've gone from that. So I feel like it's just it's going to be another resurgence, another, you know, growth, so to speak. And you can be one of the pioneers, you know, that creates that growth in Hollywood, but everything evolves, you know, everything evolves.
I think we're making great progress. And I think the interesting thing about Hollywood is I think they like to latch on to what's hot. I think trans was like a thing when like Laverne Cox hit the scene, and when I started working, it was like everybody wanted trans, and then I think non-binary is the new wild card for Hollywood. So every audition I get is non-binary, and I'm like, I'm not non-binary. Please write roles for everybody. So we'll see what happens, you know?
I mean, I was talking to someone the other day. I was just like, you know, this is the only industry where you can be openly discriminatory. And it's okay. They
find clever ways.
Like, it's totally fine to be just hateful and discriminatory in this industry.
What show do you see yourself on? Oh, would you like to be on, like be a part
that you haven't been?
That's a great question. Well, a lot of the shows that I like were kind of like Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder, which I was on, by the way, but I was playing a murderer. And full picture.
So how to Get Away with it.
Right. You know, I guess that's okay, though. Yeah. But really, I love drama. I love shows like This Is Us. I think that's where I really, really
Rest
excel.
in peace.
But also, I think the sky is the limit. Like, I could see myself being a superhero or, you know, or doing like really high dramas and biopics. Did I say that right? You know, like Rustin. I just saw Rustin and The Color Purple. Like, those are projects that I want to do. I'm real blessed that I've gotten to recur on shows and guest star, but I think now I'm ready to be a series regular.
Yeah,
I'm ready to do those major motion pictures where I can really just stretch my wings. This is about art, and as an artist, I just want to do that. But instead of like waiting like I used to, I'm doing it myself, and then I'm going to welcome those opportunities as Hollywood continues to evolve.
Are you excited for the new Color Purple movie?
I loved it. I saw it. I saw a private screening of it.
Did you like it?
You know, it was really, really good.
Nice.
I guess it was their first screening since the strike. And so it was really special. Everyone was there. And I think if you go in with the expectation of it being exactly like the 1985 one.
Well, yeah.
I think you still won't be disappointed because I think that it was that good. It was that well. The songs are written well. The casting is great. I mean, it's a full name cast.
Right.
I auditioned for Celie, by the way. Should I
Did
say
you
that?
really?
I auditioned for Celie. See, Hollywood plays. Yeah. I auditioned that same year. I auditioned for the Whitney Houston movie to play Whitney Houston.
Okay.
And then I auditioned to play Celie in The Color Purple. And I was like, really? And so that was cool. I had to like get an accompanist, and I had to do I'm Here, and I thought it was really, really good. But then they ended up casting all A-listers, and I was like, okay, it's not personal.
Fantasia played the original in Broadway.
Yeah, she did.
That's
all. Yeah, they brought her back. But that was
great.
How was that process for you?
You know, it was cool. I think I at the time was sort of psyching myself out, like, come on, like, are you really gonna like cast a trans woman to play Celie, even if I'm great? Like, all this stuff that goes through your head, where I think now, given the strike and everything, I'm just like, I really don't care. Like, I'm not gonna make this business be the only thing that I have going in my life. That's the most important thing. And I think back then it was, and so I really always thought about stuff like that. But it was really fun. I love The Color Purple, and I love that character Celie. I think my life, in so many ways, is sort of a reflective of her life. And it's nice to just get good auditions, good material.
Yes.
You know, but I think everybody's gonna love the movie. The singing is fantastic.
I'm excited.
I'd give it Best Picture.
Really? Okay. All right. I'm excited to see.
My friend I swear to God, DM'd me today. And so Whitney Houston's real life brother name is Michael as well. Yeah. So on Google, she like Googled my name, and my face is next to Whitney Houston's brother. It says Whitney Houston. I swear, and I Googled it too, and I said, "Oh shit!" And I sent to my parents. My parents were like, "Oh, you know, don't put it out there. Keep it internal." I'm like, I love Whitney though.
So you related to Whitney Houston?
In my mind.
In his mind, yes.
I always say she's my cousin, but the fact they say brother, I'm like, all right, you can slow down there. Cousin, I would have been satisfied. Brother, I'm like,
brothers.
It's crazy.
What's your favorite? One of your favorite musicals?
Oh, my favorite musical is Once on This Island. It was the first sort of musical thing I did when I was in 6th grade or something like that. And I remember being the only guy. I was in 8th grade. And I remember being the only 7th and 8th grader in the musical. Because back then, it was like a gay thing.
Right, exactly.
Like, if you do musical theater, you're gay, you're this. And I don't know, for some reason, I played Agwe, God of Water. And I just love it. So I think that's a really beautiful musical. I did see Tina on Broadway. And it was fantastic. And I saw the Temptations one, and that was really
Yes, Temptations. I saw that one too.
Yeah, now I got to see MJ. I think they're coming to the Contagious.
You know,
they're here now.
Yeah, I auditioned for Tito, and that was a fun audition. Yeah, that was that was really fun actually. That whole thing was pretty dope. That's another thing actually that you mentioned, and I want to touch on too, because like you mentioned, you know, it was a gay thing back then, and a lot of stuff like that was creative and artsy was considered gay. And I'm like, and I think we messed up our culture, we messed up our community by just, you know, spreading these lies and believing these lies, because a lot of people couldn't express themselves artistically because they were feared of calling, like, being gay, blah, 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 F word, all this stuff. Yeah. Which obviously now isn't the case, but I think it still left remnants of people having crisis with identity and things like that because they couldn't express themselves, you know, in such a vulnerable and important space in your life, and that's when you're a child. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think that's why I'll keep saying it, I guess. I'm just a big advocate for representation because to me, I really didn't have much representation, but then I remember shows like Noah's Ark and DL Chronicles.
I just watched Noah's Ark for the first time.
Noah's Ark.
I did.
I don't like him. For the first time.
I didn't know. Like I didn't know. I didn't know it was a show.
My mom loved Noah's Ark.
I'm just kidding.
I didn't know.
No. I mean, Noah's Ark was.
That's only how like I got into it because my mom would watch it all the time, and I would sit down with it and I'd be like, "Oh, okay, this is good. I like that."
Well, one of my play moms, she absolutely loves it.
Yeah.
But I used to sneak and watch it. I was in maybe high school, and I would sneak and watch it at my grandmother's house because I have to help my granddad do something on Monday, so I would watch it on Sunday nights in their basement, and I remember just being like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so gay," and that was just my representation. So I just wonder, as if being trans now, because obviously it was much deeper, I wonder what it would have been like, because when I made the decision to transition in college, there was no representation. There were no trans characters. There was no, for me to like be like, oh, that's who I am. I mean, I saw Isis King on Top Model, and that was how I knew. I was like, okay. And so I just wonder now, and I know the impact it has for people to see themselves because I get the messages all the time, and I'll tell this funny quick story that I was on a date at Olive Garden.
Oh, come on. At least it wasn't Cheesecake Factory.
Was it a romance?
It wasn't Cheesecake Factory.
What'd you
Was
say?
it a romance?
What?
Was it romance or was it a fling?
Oh, no, definitely a fling.
Totally a fling.
But yeah, I took him home after. No, I'm kidding.
Y'all,
But
it doesn't take much to go home. No, I'm just kidding.
Wait a
Playing
minute.
with you, boy.
I love you.
Well, no. So I'm at Olive Garden, and the hostess, there's a guy, he's the hostess, is black, young guy. He had to be in like his 20s. And he came over to the table, he said, oh my gosh. And I only say this because it's still funny to me to ever be recognized, because I'm like, I don't think I've done shit. I'm just like, girl, like I need a job, And so he's like, oh my gosh, like you're your Melody on Empire, right? And it's like, yeah. He said, wow, you lost a lot of weight. I was like, yeah. About 40 pounds heavier.
Damn.
And I just remember him being like so, just, how people get when you see somebody that you, I don't know, admire or whatever. And I just.
Oh, starstruck. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but like maybe a not so vain word.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But like, yes. And I just remember I went to the restroom and he was like waiting for me to come out to like talk to me. And I just remember wanting to, and he was a young gay man. And I just remember like saying to him, encouraging him, he was wanting to get into acting. And I just think that's the importance that, yes, he wasn't trans, but I do meet trans women who are like, they like, oh my gosh, like I want to do what you're doing, or like, I feel like so much more confident or whatever. And so, I think that's important to have. So I wish we had more of that growing up, but I think now that's why I fight so hard to like show versions of myself so that other folks can see themselves.
I feel that. I like that.
That's deep.
You
You never know like who's watching.
No, of course
You never know
not.
what they may be feeling while they're watching you. What kind of inspiration.
Even with your platform here, I
Right.
mean, it's like you're putting that out, and folks are going to watch it, and you're inspiring Black men to do their own thing.
Be vulnerable.
You know what I mean?
Share your emotions. No, talk. Yeah, no, for real. No, I definitely. It's funny that it was this meme or video. And it was a video that, it was a video I would watch. And it's, there was like, what would you do? Speaking to an artist, she was a singer specifically. Say, what would you do if no one watched or listened to your music? Did you guys see that? She's like, say, what would you create if no one watched or listened to your music? And she was like, I would still do what I'm doing because no one's watching, listening right now. You know what I mean? So, but you have to create as if no one is, like, who cares who's watching? Just keep going, because people are you're gonna draw someone's attention, and everything has an audience. I didn't know, but everything has an audience. Even like just eating. What's that? What did you? Wait, hold on. What was that?
Listening. No, I didn't hear nothing. Sorry. I was trying to fix the little.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things. OnlyFans. What's your OnlyFans again?
I know we're not talking about.
Yeah,
me.
exactly.
You need to go down.
I think every episode. What do you say?
Said he needs to take the price down because I'm tired.
Okay.
The 3-month bundle for me.
I think a 3-month bundle. You cheap, no? I think at least every episode. 30 days.
You know we on OnlyFans.
You got a mail-in rebate.
3-month bundle there.
I think we talk about Michael's Twitter and OnlyFans at least one time every episode.
Hey, I don't know what these people talking about, man.
Hey, you gotta do something during the strike, right? Let's transition over to current events, Mike. What's you got?
So obviously we gotta talk about Diddy. We
Oh,
gotta talk about Diddy. We gotta talk about.
your face.
So the first question is, irregardless, excuse me. Other than what we heard about what Cassie experienced, which is very traumatic and stuff,
Right.
and you know we've seen situations and scenarios where people use their power and money and influence, like in the lawsuit, not even the lawsuit, but in the articles that was coming about it, like it was Diddy's apartments that she was living in, like pretty much everything about her was tied to Diddy financially,
Right.
fiscally, all those different kind of things. I'm sure in your experience in this industry, and especially in being trans in the community, there's a lot of people like the Ed Bucks of, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? How have you not saying you've ever been involved with that, but I'm sure like you've had to probably duck off or whatever, you know, people advances in that way.
You know, I think the interesting thing is, and maybe this is to, you know, a positive, that because I am trans, those opportunities don't always present themselves to me, if that makes sense. Most people are afraid to like approach. So the idea of like even getting there, to be in a situation like Cassie or like any of the women during like the Me Too, I mean, you'd have to get in the room first. You know what I mean? Like to get asked to come up to the room. So because I think trans women are not always welcomed in those spaces, I haven't personally experienced that in terms of the industry. But I will say that I think that situation is unfortunate, and I was thinking about it on the way here, like Diddy, and like I know Trey Songz has come up, and I just find it so interesting that I'm like, these men, R. Kelly, these men who have it all, right? You have the fame, you have the success, and it's like, do you like you have an abundance of women, but you feel the need to rape or to sexually assault, you know, a woman. You know, I don't understand that. So to me, that says that there's something deeper mentally happening there that is unfortunate. And I will say, I saw that she settled the lawsuit. And here's the thing is, I know people have some mixed reviews about that, but to me, I watch a lot of court TV, and I watch a lot of stuff. And so I think Diddy probably wanted to settle because he didn't want to go through an Amber Heard, Johnny Depp situation.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that she probably settled because I think in the end, even though your goal may to have him imprisoned or whatever your goal is, I think it's a lot to come forward. Obviously, it's taken this long. And I think if you're willing to settle something, I don't think that means that he's out of the crossfire because he might have done this to other women or men. I don't know. But I think maybe that was a tough decision that she had to make. Do I want to just settle this, or do I want my life to be public? The most intimate really hurtful, painful parts of this story to actually have to come out and be in this public trial. So
Right.
it's really interesting.
Yeah, it's it's what do men with power want? More power. But it's
Have you ever had a sugar daddy?
You said a sugar daddy?
Mm-hmm.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Yes. No, I was like, you want me to answer that for
I wouldn't say
you?
that I've ever had a sugar daddy. I will say that I've been with guys where I think when I was younger, I was willing to accept sort of a DL type of thing. And so they would do nice things, like buy me a couch
gestures and things like that.
Buy me a bed or something like that. I
know.
think about Corinne Steffens. She said, when Shaq came over, I didn't have furniture for a 7-foot man. So he went and said, I'm gonna give you $5,000, and I just bought all this furniture.
Right, exactly.
But that did not happen to me.
And there was no sugar. There was sugar involved. There was no sugar involved because you don't have to have. There could be.
I mean,
that's interesting.
Yeah. No, there's just company. There's just company or like companionship.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't put my stuff out there, but it's
stop talking. You about to go on there. You lying.
well, I'm just saying, like, you don't have to share the sugar. It doesn't have to be all about that.
No,
you know what I mean?
There's Seeking Arrangement. There are many, many apps out there.
Exactly.
So.
Oh yeah, the apps were crazy. But I want to get back. So back to we're talking about Diddy real quick though. But I feel like he told on himself years ago anyway, because remember when he was gonna sue or he was threatening to sue Lee Daniels and Fox for pretty much making Lucious Lyons like he said that's my life. Like remember that? So I'm like, if we had watched Empire from start to finish and all the shit Lucious Lyons did, and this guy is claiming that's his life. This is now we're shocked. Like he was raping, he was killing, he was getting people killed, he was like offing people. You know what I mean? Come on now. So that's what my thing is. I'm like, why are we shocked?
Did he just try to talk about Empire without acknowledging that I was on the show?
I know. That's why I said you should remember the damn thing. That's why I said it.
Just saying.
It's from Chicago, and you should know what the hell I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
So he's saying.
Are you a? So we had Samson McCormick.
Good old Samson.
And then, the Flame Monroes, cross fingers.
Y'all had them here?
No. We had
You said y'all had. You said y'all. Yeah, I had Samson here.
So I already see the reaction. So basically, obviously, there's a distinction between the ideologies now when it comes to the community of like those of the old guard and how things are more sensitive now. And there's too much muddiness in terms of like identity and all these different kind of things. Are you more with the old guard or with the new guard?
No guard. Okay, what is the old guard and what's the new guard?
I guess the old guard would be like, well, yeah, a lot of things are like this. So as Flame Monroe, he, she, we.
Right.
That's their stance in terms of like things are very defined with the old guard. With the new guard, things are much more nuanced, and there can be somewhat of an annoyance with the old guard. It's like, y'all doing too much. Like, it's not that deep. And the new guard is like, it is that deep because this is what I'm experiencing.
Right. I will say that those two people, I'm sorry. And I really like Samson McCormick.
He sat right in that seat too.
Yeah.
Let me just say this. Like, I don't have a problem with him. I think the thing that I don't like is that I feel like he uses his like ideology and his like and his comedy or his sense of humor to like, I don't know. I just think it's like pandering to like the cis community. I think Flame Monroe does the same thing. And I think what they don't realize, and not really Samson, I mean, he's gay, he's not trans, but I think every time I'm looking at Gay Magazine and I'm just always seeing him commenting under like trans topics, and it's just always very problematic. And I think people will never understand it now. He may not understand it now, but I think he'll look back. And it's people like him and like Candace Owens and people who are constantly putting things out there in the world that they know. You have to know. that people are calling you out on it, it's problematic, but you choose to double down and just do it anyways. And I think those people will have to look back on the type of legacy that you want to leave behind, like Kevin Samuels. You know, I know there's a lot of black brothers out there that loved him because what he did was put black women down. But his legacy will forever be that that's what he did. And if that's what you want to leave into the world. So to me, I think you give the education to people like Flame Monroe or Samson. And I just don't think they care. They don't care because it's self-serving to their careers. And we got to stop using the excuse of like, well, it's comedy. Yes, it's comedy, but bitches are out here losing their whole lives. So like, find some other jokes. If you want to talk about, I don't mind Dave Chappelle or whoever talking about having an impossible pussy. You want to, that's funny, okay? But what you don't get to do is sit on stage for an hour and talk about policy and politics as it relates to trans women and whether they're real or not and whether they deserve the same rights as everybody else. And let's stop this idea about the pronouns. It's not that hard, right? People take the lingo from the gay trans community all the time. It is not that big of a deal, but I feel like people are always pushing against progress. And so I don't know. I think that, and that's the interesting part about, like you said, the old and the new, is that I feel like people like Flame and Samson, they make this big thing about like, well, I don't know, if you look like a man, I'm going to call you a man. Like, you are a whole gay man. You are gay. Like, I had to say this to a gay guy one time because he said, I just don't understand the whole trans thing. I said, you get fucked in the ass. That's not cute either, boo. Like, there is no difference.
Buy a trans now.
I'm just saying.
Wait.
Like,
wait. Hold on. So I definitely understand that. I get that. My thing is, it's believe what you want, feel what you feel, right? My problem is, don't force that upon anyone. If someone doesn't understand, or maybe it just they don't agree with it, we have to understand and like get to a point where we can agree and go the fuck on, because we can't disagree. I meant disagree and go the fuck on, like, because we can't disagree without bringing emotions into it, without canceling somebody, without blackballing somebody. Like, it's not that serious. And if someone doesn't agree with calling a man a she, then don't call them a she. You don't have to talk to them. My thing for being safe and nowadays with everything and how I've always operated is tell me your name. That's all. I'll call you by your name because I think that's most respectful anyway.
Yeah, but a lot of this is hypothetical anyways. Like, it's not like these people are actually encountering trans or non-binary people who are like accosting them and like trying to fight them.
But it does happen often. It does happen often.
Statistics though.
I don't know what the statistics are.
I think it's a
I just feel like people need to, it's a conversation on both sides. There has to be an understanding on both sides. You have to understand that if you walk out the door looking a certain way, someone may call you something. They don't understand it. They don't know it. They don't have knowledge on it. But does that give you a right to lash at them and tell them they're stupid and that they're transphobic?
But that's the part that I have the problem with, is that is not happening. Yes,
how do you know though?
There are assholes in every community.
But people, there
are people that they're going to be the black folks like Candace Owens in every community. But what people are doing is making it seem like that is happening. They're generalizing.
No, that's not general. That's not a generalization at all.
You just got to be versed.
You have to be. So. I'm saying you have to be accepting and understanding on both sides. Alexandra, you can't tell me that this has not happened to someone in life in this entire country.
I never said it has not happened.
And it's happened on public, on public platforms too. So I'm saying understanding and acceptance. Understanding and acceptance for everyone.
Absolutely.
Because I've seen it. I've seen it in clubs. I've seen it when someone lashes out. And it's not even trans. It could be gay. It could be anything. Gay, you're lesbian, Asian, black, whatever it is. Acceptance and understanding. Because this whole thing of lashing out is not going to get anyone to understand anything. If I want someone to understand me better with anything that I do, I'm going to talk and we're open up a dialogue. And that's where you say dialogue needs to happen.
Sure. And let me just say one thing, that I agree that there has to be compassion on both sides. But what we can't ignore is the fact that we live in a country and in a society that once told gay people that they could not get married.
Once told black people.
Told black people.
You were not even human.
So what I need people to have the same energy when it comes to trans people, because what we can't do is play both sides, right? Because we can't say that if you calling me a nigga, like you calling me a nigga, and like I have to understand both sides. It's not that difficult. We have to acknowledge the fact
nigga is
that
not
people,
a pronoun.
But I'm just saying, like, we have to acknowledge the
apples and
fact
oranges.
that people do not think that trans people deserve to be in spaces, which is why bitches can't use the bathroom and they can't get access to health care. So starting with that basis, there has to be an understanding that it is not, people are not being accosted every single time they mistreat somebody. No. People just have a problem with it because they don't think that we deserve to be at exist.
And I think it's just like that. Yeah, that's an issue in itself. And I think it's also people's experience, just like, you know, a old white lady or might have had a horrible experience with a black man. Now every time they're going to see a black man, they're going to walk on the other side of the street, blah, blah, blah. Not saying all black men are like that. And that's what I mean by the whole generalization, and when dialogue needs to be open. But last point before we close out with our trivia, you spoke about the bathrooms, you know, and things like that. What's a way of progress in that regard? Because, you know, like restaurants, gyms, things like that, a lot of them obviously can't afford to have another bathroom. What's something that you would like to see moving forward?
I mean, I'm not a non-binary person, so to me, like, I just use the women's restroom. But I mean, I really don't know. I mean, just gender, like in restaurants, I imagine some of them probably have single bathrooms, but I don't know. Like, it's the same like when people ask you about sports and trans people in sports. Like, I'm not a physiologist. I can't figure that out. But I think the people that should be discussing that are the people that are qualified in terms of like the sports. You know, there should be like physicists and people who do biology and shit and chromosomes. Like, they should figure out. Like, you get what I mean?
It's like, I'll figure out the
damn. As opposed to like just basically telling trans people that no, you got to figure it out. You know, so I don't know how we move to a more diverse thing. I think you know, I don't know.
Right.
It's challenging, but you just can't write people off.
Exactly.
You know,
it's a dialogue that has to happen, especially if you want to move forward, you know? So
there's bottoms and there's verses. That's what this conversation was
all about. All about. All right. Well, anyway, I want to move on to trivia real quick. Okay. We got some questions for you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Hold on. I want to do the transition again. Can you turn up the Bluetooth one? Turn it up. Okay. Oh, all right. So yeah, we got some trivia coming up for you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. You ready for it? So we're going to. It's Broadway trivia, so you should do great.
Oh.
You should do great. All right. Here we go. First question. You're the One That I Want was a 2007 reality competition show starring Danny and Sandy. What Broadway show was this?
What?
You're the One That I Want was a 2007 reality competition show starring Danny and Sandy. What Broadway show was this?
Gypsy?
It starts with a G. You're close.
Wow.
Danny and Sandy. You're the one that I want. You are the one I want.
I'm not a Broadway star.
Grease. It was Grease. It was Grease.
I thought that was a movie.
Yeah, it was. It's a show, Broadway show too.
Oops.
Oh, I'm fine. Let's see what the next one is. Yeah. All right. Named for a major Midwestern city. What long-running Broadway musical features songs like All That Jazz and Cell Block Tango?
How you doing? She was in it. How you doing?
Wendy.
Yeah, she was in what show?
Oh, right. Chicago. No.
Yes. Oh my God.
We're just going to go ahead and wrap this up.
This trivia question.
Thank you very much.
You're like, you're from here. You're
I
from
was like,
Chicago.
that's why I pointed to you. I'm like, okay, hopefully you can get this one.
Leaks. Okay.
Hopefully you get this one. Okay, what 2004 smash hit teen comedy movie opened as a musical on Broadway in spring 2018?
Mean Girl.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Come on now.
I just watched this.
Nice. All right, this is the fourth and final one. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right, let's see if you can get this one. Hold on, I don't like that one. Sorry. I want to give you something that I know you may know. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain is a famous lyric from what classic Broadway musical by Lerner and Loewe? My Fair Lady, Richard Rodgerson, or Annie?
Annie?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
That is correct. You got it! You got 2 out of 2. Good job. You got 2 out of 2.
Good guess.
Nice. Well, thank you again, Alexandra, for coming. I had a great conversation with you. I enjoyed having you on the show again. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming and redoing it for us.
I know. We got to get it together.
Shut up. All right, go ahead and you stupid. Go ahead and tell everybody where to find you.
Well, you guys can find me on Instagram at Alexandra Grey Official. That's Gray with an E. I'm also on Twitter, Alexandra Grey, and yeah.
All right, and and hit them DMs. She's looking for dates. She's open for dates.
For men that want to actually date.
Yeah.
Not romances.
Not
Just
flings.
Flings, not flings, romances.
Not flings. We want
Well, it
extended
depends. If it's
romances.
Michael B. Jordan, I'm taking it.
I done messed up when
So
I
in
said
case
that,
he's
didn't
watching it,
I? I
mean-
messed up. All right, go ahead and tell them where to find you, Mike.
You can find me on Romance Doctor.
Oh, my gosh.
Life.with.mike on Instagram and Michael Houston on Facebook.
Yes, sir.
The only
And you can find me everywhere. We don't want to know where your OnlyFans are. You can find me everywhere. I am Danny Royce. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Stand Up.